What's up YouTube, it's DistroSC back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be going over my completed Turbo Scorpion build. Before I get started, I would just like to make a correction to a mention that I made in a previous either A video or B post. Kyosho does sell a light kit for this vehicle, and they actually have the part number listed in the manual on page 27 up here. When installing the 97054-4B LED light unit, make a hole in the body and do this other stuff, and then also cut this little tab off of the light bucket assembly. I didn't do the whole drilling a hole thing. You'll see where I mounted the lights here in a second, but anyway, I didn't actually make the light kit myself. I just went ahead and bought this one. So a lot of the Kyosho light kits I found that same part number, but the last series of number and letter were different in order to be for different vehicles, whether the lights were clear, red, 2 lights, 4 lights, various things like that. So body is all nice and stickered up. I decided I didn't want to paint it, and honestly I kind of like the look how you can just like see through underneath the body. So I don't plan on painting it, and I'm lazy, so 2 reasons. I figured out the issue I was having with the steering, and the issue I was having with the steering is how this metal bar, which the steering mounts to, faces. I had it facing up, like it would be like towards the camera, but that's not the way you want it to face. You want it to face as close to parallel with this front lip up where the bumper goes as possible. That's how the steering and the geometry for it actually works, so that you're not getting this weird like toe and camber and you can't steer. And it's kind of hard to see in the instructions how it goes, so I'm like letting y'all know that for the steering and camber and toe front suspension setup, put this little metal bar how it angles up parallel with these where the bumper mounts. Anyway, so I saw how the back suspension was this swing arm style, like they use in Baja, basically. Baja buggies. And I thought that was really cool, rather than the standard A-arm suspension that everybody uses nowadays. But I didn't notice that how the front was set up. So that makes me even more excited for having this buggy, because it's just completely different than anything we see nowadays. Everything now is like the exact same, minus if you want to get sued by Traxxas and use a pushrod suspension. But yeah, bumper probably not going to take much of an impact. It's not very flexible and quite rigid, so don't plan to do any sort of bashing with this vehicle, but that's okay. The front tires spin pretty well. The difference in how they spin just probably depends on how tight the lug nuts are. I do have the lights run through the back, actually, since I had an excessively large hole for the back due to the taller ESC than is supposed to sit in here. I just used that to run the lights. So that's why they are, and I'll show you the lights on in a second. A lot of extra stickers on the wing than normally comes with, but I just love how many stickers are on here. I don't know why, I just think it looks really cool. This is the underside of the vehicle, and this vehicle is not light. My dad picked it up and was like, that's like way heavier than I would have expected for what it is. It's because there's so much metal. All of the suspension arms are metal. All of the chassis rails are metal. The only thing that's really like plastic on here are the wheels, some of like the roll cage, the body, and like the part that houses the electronics themselves. All the rest of it's metal. So this sucker is heavy. Actually, I'm going to get a scale out just to show y'all. Okay. We're zeroed out. 3 pounds, 12.6 ounces. For reference, I'm going to get out my Traxxas Bandit. Another tint scale 2-wheel drive buggy Now, granted, I have bigger tires on it, but that's not going to make much of a difference for this scenario. Well, my analogy has just failed. The Bandit's over a half-pound heavier. But I don't know why. The Bandit just feels lighter. And also, for like another comparison, the Bandit is significantly larger. Like, significantly wider. Now, granted, it's on monster truck tires, so that's one of the reasons why. But also the wheelbase is inch and a half longer. So, and overall the vehicle is just a larger vehicle. You can see the length. Plus, I mean, the wheelie bar is way longer. So, anyway, this video is not about the Bandit. Video is about the Turbo Scorpion. The transmitter is really cool. I like that it came already including the lanyard, so that's super nice. The tires are very classic dirt style. There is no foam insert, but I did tape up the inside of the wheel so that air doesn't get in there, or not the air, sand and stuff, despite there not being a foam insert for it to mess up. But I just did that for generic, no water, no sand, no dirt, all that kind of stuff, getting in the tires and causing them to go off balance. Fronts I did the same thing with. Anyway, I'm going to get the body off, which is, there's a little clip that like loops up right here that here, let me see if I can show y'all. So it flips. And then you have clips here, here, and then these side two ones. And that's how the body like really clips down onto the rest of the vehicle. And there's a little body pin that goes right here through a post. But I don't have that on. I find doing the back ones is easier. And then in order to get the front out through the shock tower, you have to bend the body a little bit. And since I'm using a hard case lipo, the only spot where I could actually get the battery leads out was through this back one here. So that's just kind of where it sits. I think that they designed the vehicle for the battery leads to come out of here, but there is no opening over here, which is where I would need it to come out. So that's where it sits. Oh, whoops. Those are my lights. I don't want that. Go like this. I mounted the on-off switch back here where it's designed to be mounted. And those are the lights. There is a small little light module as a part of this light kit. And so I figured out where on the receiver I could mount it so that I could toggle through the various light functions. And what it ends up being was it's not in channel 3 or 4. It's in the channel right below those two. But somehow I can still use channel 3 to toggle through the modes. So if I turn it off, it goes off. But if I turn it on again, flashing, off, on, then they just go alternating between high, low, and flashing. And then off, on, and they just are on bright again. So, not sure exactly why that is that way, but it is. And so I can still adjust the lights being on and off, so I like that. And as long as I just don't mess with channel 3 on the transmitter, they're just going to stay that way. So like even if I turn the vehicle off and back on, they'll stay in this same mode. See? So, all right, turning everything back off. Unplug the battery. Off the transmitter. The only thing I don't like about how this transmitter is done... I was like, actually, that's how it's better. Never mind, ignore what I was saying. I was going to say was I wish that these... Actually, no, that's what I don't like. That's right. I don't like how this is mounted inside of this. I wish that it was like one on top of the other. But other than that, it's cool. So anyway, one more thing. The suspension's this really cool design. Really cool. Unique design, how it's just a clamp fit around the metal shaft. And so you can loosen this screw, move the top holder up and down to add or retract pre-compression on the spring. So that's just something I thought was cool. Same thing on the backs. The motor fits in quite well. It honestly, a little bit longer of a can would have been nice because it's kind of bumping up in the wires right here, but it's not that big a deal. So yeah, that's just an overview of the Turbo Scorpion after I've fully built it and stickered it up and done the light kit and everything. It's just a really cool vehicle. Don't have much running time on it just due to how rainy it's been in Houston, and also just I've been super busy with after work stuff, doing a lot of CAD modeling for new GPSs I got. I designed up this little case for it in order to protect it. And currently I have a print made out of TPU that's like a case for this, because this is made out of PETG. It's not very flexible. But this was the TPU print, and there's a whole lot of stringing and stuff I got to cut out, which I'm aware of. But anyway, this is like a case so that I can stick this inside of it, and I'll have some extra protection. At least that's the hope. I also designed up a case for the other one. So same idea. This one's goes out like that. So yeah, if y'all want me to put the files for... Never mind, I'm just going to make another video about this, and then I'll put the files in there. That's what one of the reasons I've been busy, and I haven't been able to drive this. That's what I was saying. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I really enjoyed this build. It honestly, I think, took me longer to build this vehicle than the Javelin, even though this one's the two-wheel drive and I thought it was going to be less complicated. But it was still a really fun build, so that's all that matters to me, and now I get to have a lot of fun driving it. If I had to guess, the top speed would probably be in the mid to high 30s, maybe touching 40. I don't think so, though. But yeah, it's just a super fun car to drive. It is a little bit challenging due to two-wheel drive and antiquated suspension technology, but that's just all the fun. That's just all the more fun. So anyway, I enjoyed the build, and I'm enjoying driving it, and I'll see you on the next video.